What you know about retro ghetto? Collecting and playing retro. Lock into the retro ghetto.
Hi everybody and welcome back to the Retro Ghetto. First things first, I hope everyone had a fantastic Christmas. We're currently in that no man's land period between Christmas and New Year where no one really knows what day it is, and I wanted to get you fine people some content out for this strange interim period. This is a video I've been wanting to make for a long time. I want to do a comparison between a mint game at CEX and a standard edition, but it's so rare, so few and far between that mint copies actually turn up at CEX. I've not been able to film one until now. They actually got one in stock of a 16-bit system, because that's what I wanted to do, either Mega Drive or Super Nintendo. And it turned up at none other than my local branch, the Burton-on-Trent store. Shout out to the manager extraordinaire, Minesh. So as soon as I saw that they had a mint copy of a Mega Drive game, I went straight down there and picked it up. I then went onto the CEX app, ordered a standard copy of the game, which we're going to be doing a bit of a CEX lottery with here on this video. Hopefully by the end of the video we're going to be a little bit closer to being able to answer the question as to whether it's worth paying that bit more for a CEX mint copy of a game. Okay, so let's get straight into it. The game in question that they have a mint copy of at my local CEX was Flintstones on the Mega Drive. As you might expect, this is based on the Hanna-Barbera cartoon, published by Taito in 1993, and of course this is a platformer. You play as Fred Flintstone, you have 7 tasks to complete, and you have to do that over 24 levels. It's a game that I've actually never played myself. I've not really seen any gameplay of it or anything, so I'm really happy to add it to my collection. But let's get into what we're here today to look at, and that is the condition. Now you'll be seeing now with the overlay on the screen, on the pricing sticker it actually says mint. This is £38, and obviously we'll be looking at the price of a non-mint copy when we unbox this a little bit later on in the video. But I've often said on the channel how I don't like the fact that CEX labels things as mint. I think mint is a term which means perfect, and perfection is very hard to attain. For me, unless it's been sealed and you're opening it on the spot, I don't think mint necessarily exists. But without being pedantic, this is everything that you could want from a mint copy. There's no marks, it's got the hang tab, it relatively looks immaculate. As you'll be seeing now, the manual looks like it's never been touched. The cartridge itself, again, it largely looks like it's never been played. Shout out to, as I said, Minesh, who is the manager at my local CEX branch. He knows video games, he knows retro video games, so he is in a position to be able to mark things as mint. I do think maybe there's a bit of a reluctance between some CEX staff members and maybe managers that aren't so well versed in video games or retro video games, that maybe they don't want to be marking things as mint. Maybe it's just a minefield that they don't want to get into. But again, we're going to be discussing that a little bit later on in the video, and as to why I don't think they should be labeling anything as mint. But as I say, without being pedantic, this is as mint as a Mega Drive game as you will find in 2002. We're still in 2002.
2022.
Yeah, it's really fantastic condition. I mean, you could argue that the sticker isn't there, but then, is that then classed as sealed? I don't know, but yeah, it's in great condition, and I'm very happy to be adding this to my collection. Right then, so let's move on to the CEX lottery portion of this video. So here is a standard copy of Flintstones on the Mega Drive. This game costs £28, so it is £10 cheaper. That might not sound like an awful lot of money, but obviously when you look at it as a percentage against £38, it is relatively expensive in comparison. So we'll be looking at the end as to whether it was worth it or not. This one does have the pull tab, so we are going to hopefully be able to redeem myself and get a nice clean pull on this. Let's see. It's a Christmas miracle. Okay, let's see what we've got. White Giami wrap, it must be Christmas. I've never seen that colour before. Let's see. No receipt in here. Excuse me. Okay, let's get on with it. No receipt, which is unusual. Wow, okay. In some ways this is the perfect copy for this video. Let's get into this. Wow, okay, immediately, look how sun faded that is. I mean, I couldn't have planned this any better in terms of doing a comparison video, right? Or any worse, depending on how you look at it. That is one of the most sun faded games I've ever received. Not received, seen. I mean, that is bad. And it doesn't feel like there's a manual. I mean, wow. I didn't know what to expect in filming this. I was kind of thinking, you know, maybe one that would turn up would be in like half decent condition, might be a bit tatty, but it might be complete, and we'd be able to have this whole debate about, oh, is it worth it? But I mean, on the evidence of this is shocking. If I'd just bought this game, I'd be taking this back because, yeah, that's beyond sun faded. There's no manual. I mean, for what it's worth, the cartridge is in okay condition, but that is really, that's terrible. Okay, so in conclusion, to have done this test more accurately, I would have liked to have maybe done 3 to 5 games and pitted them against each other, against mint against non-mint. However, even if I could afford to buy duplicates of that many games, there just aren't that many mint copies at CEX to be able to do that. So all we can do is work with what we've got, and we've got 2 vastly contrasting conditions of the same game here. Is it worth paying that bit extra for mint copies at CEX? Well, that really comes down to you as a collector. Obviously, there are collectors out there that really value the condition of a game, certainly more so than I do. And if you do value the condition of the game that highly, then obviously it might be something that you want to look at. What I would say though is if you are going to pay a premium price to get mint from CEX, should there be one in stock, you're verging on that territory of maybe being better off spending your money on eBay. If you are going to be paying that bit extra, I'd check eBay first, because it might be that now you're getting into that similar price, if not cheaper, to go that route, and you're going to get photographs and know exactly what you're getting before you receive it. The caveat to that, of course, would be if you have CEX vouchers. If you're utilising CEX vouchers, then by all means go for it, grab yourself a mint copy once it comes in stock. For me, I'm going to continue to buy standard copies of games for a couple of different reasons. The first one being the way I collect is I'm cheap. I love the wheeling and the dealing, I love the bargain hunting. And as we've seen on my last video, when I got that copy of Lost Vikings, I was so happy because it was such a shock to get something in fantastic condition, especially Nintendo cardboard, which you just don't see in 2022. That's probably the best condition SNES game I've seen at any CEX, full stop. And that wasn't listed as mint, that was just listed as standard. And it wouldn't have made me as happy had I ordered that as mint and paid a bit more, because I would have expected it once I opened it. You guys got to see on camera how happy I was, because I did not expect to receive a Nintendo cardboard game from CEX as a standard copy in that much condition that game has now gone up in my estimation. I've got like more love for that copy of that game now, because it was such a shock, and we won the lottery with that one, and that will always sort of stay with me. So it really depends on what kind of a collector you are as to whether it is worth pursuing these mint games as and when they do come in stock at CEX. But of course, it is the best way to guarantee that you will get a complete game. In conclusion, I would probably say make sure you're checking the prices against eBay before you do spend that extra money, unless of course you're using CEX vouchers, and then you can't really lose.
Retro Ghetto.
Okay, so the final thing I want to say about this subject is a thought that I touched upon at the start of this video, is that I don't think CEX should use the word mint at all. I think by definition mint means perfect, that you can't get any better, and I think that's almost an impossible definition to achieve. I think CEX would be a much better place to just start listing things as complete. But by complete, I also mean good condition. If you see complete, you know you're going to get a game of a certain condition, and it's going to have the manual and all the pull tabs and all that kind of stuff. I think if a game maybe has its manual and it's theoretically complete, but it's in terrible condition, sun faded, badly creased, whatever, don't list that as complete. That would be my advice to CEX. In an ideal world, we'd also have some pictures to go alongside some of these games, but obviously I'm not expecting too much, and I know that this is only a small part of CEX's business, and it has to be cost effective for them to put extra time into these things to then generate profit as a company. Also, I wouldn't expect CEX to be doing this for every single Xbox 360 game or PS4 game that they get through to their system. I'm talking about a certain cut-off point of what you would consider to be retro video games, or maybe a certain price point, whether it's over £50, £70, even maybe £100. So at least that you know that when you're buying a video game, it is going to have its manual, it is going to be complete. I think we're going into 2023, and at the point of recording this where we're still buying video games that can be £100, I've recently seen that there's a copy of Mega Man X2 coming to stock at CEX. That game is £800. And to be in a situation where you could spend £800 on a game and not know if it's got a manual or not, to me, is absolutely ludicrous. If there is anybody watching from CEX out there, I implore you to somehow go to your bosses and see if we can just implement a small change, just so that going forwards that we can know if there is a manual or not. There has been some put on the app There was a period in time where you were starting to see a little C next to things for complete, but it's too few and far between, and there doesn't seem to be any structure or rhyme or reason as to why they are or aren't doing it with certain video games. I hope this video has given you guys a little bit of an insight into mint versus standard copies. Obviously, looking at the copies that we got today, they're non-comparable. I mean, this is the worst condition game I think I've ever received in the post from CEX. Yeah, I mean, almost timely, right? To be able to compare these two is like night and day. But hopefully now you'll be able to go forward, make some more informed decisions if you do ever see mint copies in stock, and ask yourself if it is actually worth it. As always, play your games, keep it retro. Thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you in the new year. Take care.
Retro Ghetto.